To manifest, learn to read the previous chapter of your life. Let me start again as usual by saying that for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power, such that they are without excuse. Another translation says that God's eternal power and character cannot be seen. But from the beginning of creation, God has shown what this look like by what he has made. And that is why they don't have any excuse. We can understand God by studying the creation of his hand, even though mankind have decided to look away from the obvious as seen in the creation, because they want God to remain mysterious. So they cannot understand why it's necessary to study him based on what he has made. I would like to also say that some of the languages used in scripture are based on the limitation of the understanding at that time. The scripture is going to be written today. I'm sure you are going to see changes in language use, changes like energy, frequency, and vibration. For example, love, joy, and peace make it to be at a high frequency of vibration. But hatred, fear make it to be at a low frequency of vibration. So as long as you are in Christ, which means you are full of love, joy, and peace, evil power cannot harm you because you are above them due to your high frequency of vibration. God has set up different systems on earth, and this makes him not to interfere in the way the earth operates every time. Why? Because he's a God of system. And that's one thing we must understand about God. He's a God of system. And that's why also if you are doing a business or you are into any kind of venture, be it be for profit or non-profit, it's important to think in systems. Someone says system is save yourself time, energy, and money. SYSTEM. Save yourself time, energy, and money. That means when you set up a system, it saves you time for other things. It saves you energy, deployment, and of course, it saves you money. So you have set up system on the earth, water cycle, carbon cycle, phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle. These are cycles that occur in nature. You know, when you study nature, this is why I don't understand how someone can be an atheist. I really cannot understand. Because if you study nature, the intelligence in the design is such that you must be, I'm trying to look at the word to use. For you to, if you're a scientist and you understand the physics law of motion, particularly the first law that said that everything contained in a state of rest or uniform motion on a straight line, unless compelled by an external force to act otherwise. If you believe in that Newton law of motion, and yet you believe also that this intelligence system can just occur by itself and on its own, then you are hiding behind one finger because you believe physics, that nothing can happen without an intelligence behind it. There must be a force, but yet you deny. You might not call him God, can call him universe, God, force of nature. But what is important is that there's an intelligence behind the design called Earth or the universe. So if you study this cycle, you understand what I'm talking about. Even as human, if you study the human being from the nervous system to the endocrine system, to the cardiovascular system, to the pulmonary system, to the digestive system, to the excretory system, to the skeletal system or muscular system. You agree with me that these are also intelligently put together. And he has put on this system on the earth. God has put on system on the earth on how to manifest your desired reality. And that's what we are learning in this conversation on unveiling divine operating system for manifestation. Unveiling the divine operating system for manifestation. Unveiling the divine operating system for manifestation. Today we are looking at a very interesting topic. To manifest, you need to learn to read the previous chapter of your life. Let me start by saying that even though generally people don't want to be a victim, but I must say that being a victim is what lets you manifest your desired reality. This is because you don't know your current state. If you don't know your current state, how then will you know how to get your desired reality? This means if you are going to Akure, for example, but you don't know that you are currently in the Ikeja, how will you know that you are supposed to face the way to the toll gate to start your journey to Akure? How do you know? You need to know where you are right now to know where you face on your journey to Akure. You might find yourself going towards Badagry in the bid to go to Akure, and that would be the wrong things to do. That is why it's important to look. That's why, rather, the most important book you ever read in your life is the previous chapters of your life. Your inability to do a critical review of your life in order to know where the trauma are located will make you not to know where you have been a victim. And by the way, many of us are victims. Some are not even aware they are victims. Many of us are victims. Victims of the adult of our lives who are pouring different things in us. And sometimes they don't even know what they are doing. And guess what? What they did is having a repercussion in our life today. Some of us, the reason we hate some tribe is because of this. Some of us, the reason we hate some food is because of this. Some of us, the reason we are not able to make the desired progress is because of this. It's because of this. This is so important. So important. Your inability to do a critical review of your life in order to know where the trauma are located will make you not to know where you have been a victim. And this will make it difficult for you to know the route that you need to take. This will make it difficult for you to know the route that you need to take in order to manifest your desired reality. If you are ignorant about the area where you have been a victim, you are ignorant of the frequency, and then you are ignorant of the frequency that you are emitting, and that means you are ignorant of your state of consciousness, your self-concept, and mental attitude. If you don't know the previous chapter of your life, you will not know when the story continues. You will not know when the story continues. So no matter the manifestation practice like meditation, visualization, affirmation, prayer, fasting, it will amount to nothing if you don't know yourself. As a matter of fact, you might be given to reading and learning in order to find answer, and this will bring you no result if you have not read yourself first so as to know how to apply the knowledge. Read yourself first. If you are unaware of what is going on within you, you will not be able to explain what is going on without. Please know that awareness begins with you because there is no manifestation without you. Awareness begins within, and this awareness is a precursor to any degree of transformation in your life. Unfortunately, not many people are ready to look at the previous chapter of their lives to see what where the trauma resides. So people are not even aware that they are traumatized. Let me give you an example. You know, some of us were beaten mercilessly growing up. You are beaten mercilessly, and you think that beating is what makes you to be who you are today. So you transfer that trauma to your child and beat the hell out of him or her. Because you didn't even know you've been traumatized. That's why you are eager to carry cane and beat. And when you are beating, you are not correcting. You are taking your own pound of flesh like a revenge for the pain the child have caused you. Let me define trauma. Because if you don't know where you are traumatized, you will be emitting frequency that is sabotaging your desired reality without knowing. Someone defined trauma as a negatively intense emotional experience. A negatively intense emotional experience. Negatively intense emotional experience. That's the definition someone gave trauma. I love the definition because it's negative, it's intense, and guess what? It affects your emotion. A trauma is a negatively intense emotional experience. Someone only needs to go through traumatic experience once for their mind to shift for the rest of their life. So there is a song that is silently playing at the background of your life. It's always playing unknowingly at the background of your life. It's always playing unknowingly at the background of your life. This trauma can be in the area of relationship, in the area of money, in the area of jobs, in the area of raising kids. It can be in the area of different area. If you're unaware of how your mind is shifted, you will be unable to know how your reality is being manifested. The fact that you are unaware of this song singing at the background of your life will make it to always corrupt and distort your frequency of desired reality. Note that reality is forever unfolding from you. And due to this, if you do not shift on the deepest level of your subconscious mind, your reality will never shift. And if it temporarily changes, it will soon come back. So you need to sit down and look at the past strong emotional experience you have had in your life. So for example, what are you believing God for? A job? A spouse? A promotion? What are you believing God for? Question. In what way have you experienced a negative emotional experience in this area? For example, if growing up, life is tough, money is a big deal in the home, you always, most of the time, don't have money, you don't know how that have affected you. You don't know how that have affected you. And it's important you understand how this is affecting you, has affected you. The way you think about money. Because of a negative traumatic experience. So before you start the practice of manifestation, you need to review your life to identify these experiences and correct them. Like I said, sometimes you just see people, sometimes people are putting a lot of effort, nothing seems to be changing. It's like, why are we putting in so much effort and not getting results? Someone have had an intense emotional experience. Remember what trauma is? It's an intense emotional experience. Intense negative emotional experience. If you don't review your life and the trauma, every frequency you are trying to generate by manifestation practice is going to be corrupted by this silent song playing at the background of your life. So if you are doing manifestation practice and it looks like nothing is changing, then check your negative, intense emotional experiences in this area. If you have had 3, 4, 5 heartbreaks, you can easily conclude that men has come. Because of the heartbreak. What you don't know is how it has emotionally affected you. This is so important. So if you are doing manifestation practice and it looks like nothing is changing, then check your negative, intense emotional experience. You need to take a trip to your past and to a critical review of the strong emotional experience you have had in the area you seek manifestation. Most people want to materialize things, but they don't know what things means to them. They don't know what things mean to them. That is, if you want to materialize money, you must first examine what does money mean to you. Listen to this very well. What does money mean to you? This is necessary because it is what it means to you subconsciously that is going to be projected into the God system of the universe. Why? When you have definition of something, in reality, we have definition of something in reality. So we have a definition of success, for example. And we have a definition of love, for example. And we have a definition of money, for example. If your definition that is hindering the effect of your manifestation practice, it is your definition rather. So there is a subconscious definition and there's a conscious definition. If growing up, money was a struggle in your family, you are going to associate money with struggle. Unknowingly. 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 You have defined money as struggle. You have defined love as toxic. You know, there's a lady, I saw a video, I've been following her. She's a traumatized young girl. I'm not sure that lady is up to 25. Very traumatized, heavily. In fact, she said, if it's to choose between marriage and death, she would choose death. She hates marriage with passion. She must have had bad marriages of her uncle, parent, and even herself in relationship. She's heavily traumatized. I think you need to hear her. You know, when someone is talking out of trauma, if he has designed it, you will know that this person is traumatized, is talking like it's out of her mind. She's not talking like a, and you see the kind of advice he gives girls. And he's young. I'm not sure that girl is 25. And he'll be talking like she has seen life. Ah, social media has given everybody a voice. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has a voice. And for one reason or the other, foolishness gets traction. Foolishness gets traction. If you are talking sense, many people will not even like or post you or retweet or forward, but begin to do rubbish, nonsense, saying nonsense. Before you know it, more people will be following you. Oh, you know, I stumbled on one live yesterday, a live stream on TikTok. There's a lady, she claimed to be helping women, particularly women in bad relationship. And you need to see the kind of advice they are giving you. I pity the unwise young girls or ladies out there. I pity them. Pity them. The kind of advice, you know, Yoruba people have a saying, ẹni tí ó daṣọ fún ni tọrùn ẹ̀ là á kọ́ wò. Ẹni tí ó daṣọ fún ni tọrùn ẹ̀ là á kọ́ wò. A person that will give you clothes to wear is going to get a good clothes for you. You need to check, what is he wearing? What is he wearing? What is he wearing? Hot people are hurting others, saying rubbish. Saying rubbish. And it's affecting so many people. I mean, a lot of people, and you need to be very careful the kind of people you follow online, the kind of people you listen to. Because sometimes, either you know it or not, some of those things is getting to your subconscious mind. This lady is hot. You can see that this person is terribly damaged, traumatized. But will come online like a sane human being and saying rubbish. And people are watching and listening to her. So some people's definition of marriage is toxicity. So since they've been married, it's always toxicity. And because it's always toxic, hurt people. Hurt people. Please know that you will typically know that when you have a negative intense experience with something, either directly personal experience, you typically have a negative intense experience with something, either directly through personal experience or indirectly through observation. So what bad experience have you had with money? Relationship, getting a job, with money. Some have struggle, burden, problem, and pain. So if you associate money with problem in your life, your mind wants to get rid of problem. What do you think your mind will get rid of? Of course, it will get rid of opportunity to make money. Why? Because it wants to get rid of problem. Because in your mind, money is associated with problem because of the experiences you had growing up. Because of the experience you had growing up. What experience do you have with money growing up? Struggle, problem, pain. Remember, for anything to exist physically, it must first exist vibrationally. So to get rid of problem in your life, your mind will attract situations and circumstances, people and events that get rid of money, because money in your subconscious mind is problem. As far as your mind is concerned, problem is money and money is problem. All these are happening to you subconsciously because of your emotional association with money in your life. This can be in relationship. You associate relationship with toxicity. So you don't even want to get into anyone again because of the experience you had the last time. And it makes you to paint all men or all women the same brush. Men are scum, women are harlot, or women are olosho, whatever it is you call them. But that's not true. All men are not scum. All women are not cheat. It's not true. But because of your experience, if you didn't process it well, everybody is the same. Everybody is the same. Everybody's like that. But that's not true. That's not true. This negative, intense emotional experience is very deep in your subconscious mind. So, as your manifestation practice will not be, so your manifestation will not be able to change your state. This is because they are unable to get rid of the deep-seated, emotionally intense experience, otherwise called trauma. Another example is relation to, let's say, how you grew up. If you grew up in chaos, disharmony, toxicity, your mind will associate relationship with these negative things. So to avoid chaos, disharmony, toxicity, this silent song at the background of your life that associate relationship with negative things, We bring situation and circumstances to your life to prevent any form of relationship from working. Why? Because relationship is toxic. My question again to you this evening, what is your subconscious definition of what you want? Are you sure your mind is seeing it the way you are seeing it? What's your subconscious definition of what you want? What's your subconscious definition of what you want? So when someone come to ask for your hand in marriage or relationship, you do everything to frustrate him or her, so it will not work. These are subtle program running at the background of your life that is controlling what you do to achieve a particular outcome without knowing about it. When you seek to manifest something without underlining what that something means, in terms of emotional association, you are likely to get the opposite of what you want. Have you read the previous chapter of your life? Have you read the previous chapters of your life? When you want to manifest money, ask yourself, what are the issues in negatively intense emotional experience you have had with money growing up? When you want to manifest success, ask yourself, what are the negative, intense emotional experiences I have gone through with trying to be successful? When you want to manifest good relationship, ask yourself, what are the negative, intense emotional experiences I've gone through in trying to get into relationship? This is very important because as you seek to manifest any good thing in your life, it is what that thing that your mind associates with it that will attract it to you. So your manifestation has always been working all this while. It's just that you're not conscious of what you are attracting to you as the negative emotional association of what you want. If relationship is defined as disharmony, pain, betrayal, stress, isolation, in your subconscious mind, that is what you get when you want to manifest good relationship. For example, to be successful for some people means being seen, being prominent, and this make you vulnerable, means you are in danger, and means you are a target. So if you try to avoid all these emotional association of success in life because of pain, your mind will be helping you to avoid success. So you can identify, you can identify with the fact that you have created this trauma in your life when you remember that you are always hiding from your parent when they come back from work instead of going to greet them. This has created a trauma that make your mind to emit a frequency not being seen no matter what you are doing well. Because you're already traumatized, you don't want your parent to see you hiding. This will now manifest in your life in future such that you are at work and you are doing so well, but guess what? You don't want to be seen because energetically your frequency is hiding you from being seen. So nobody appreciates you, nobody likes you, nobody wants you, nobody Even though you are doing so well, energetically, you don't want to be seen. And it's affecting your promotion. You are doing all the work, but you are not being promoted because nobody is seeing what you are doing. Nobody is seeing what you are doing. Nobody is seeing what you are doing. Seeing what you are doing. The intense negative emotional association is acquired directly through emotional experience or indirectly through observation. Or indirectly through observation. For many in our world today, their emotional association are mainly acquired through observation based on what they see on the internet. Can you see why I said some people are already traumatized on the internet? They are having emotional experience. They form terrible opinion about men, about women, about a tribe, about a set of people by what they are seeing on the internet. What many don't understand is that some of the things you are seeing on the internet are not real. Some of them are bugs designed to interact with you. Some of the likes you have are not real. Some of those followers are not real. They are bugs. Some of those comments are not real. Some of those videos are not real. By now, you should know that all videos you see are not real. But now you should know that already. You need to be careful what you are exposing yourself to online. Many people have been traumatized online. They are already internally shifting negatively and it's affecting them. Remember, what you have subconsciously associated your desired reality to is what you attract to yourself. And in the bid to avoid it, it affects whatever you want to manifest. Many people don't know that the people they see on the internet saying and doing rubbish are traumatized people. That is traumatizing others. Like I said, for that lady, for example, I said, we'd rather die than marry. And it's so fierce in some of the things she says. And when you hear, you just know that this lady is hot. Seriously hot. As in, terribly traumatized. And he says some things that you'll be wondering, how on earth could a young lady be talking like this? Young lady, I think, young lady. He said, would rather die than be married. I'm trying to see if I can get that video. Hold on.
It's only for you and your fellow believers. One of the bad ideologies I had as a
Say goodbye to unwanted.
you know, get it time, buddy. The fact that women are the ones bashing me more. There is something I noticed. You guys govern yourself, which is why I call most of these things this.
I don't know what Ida is passing.
I thought I was never going to be able to love again, or I was not. The moment you believe in something outside of your
Sorry, I'm coming now.
you can die. One of the biggest gaslights I've seen.
We made a bet.
I'm trying to find that video, but I can't find it.
One propaganda will not fall. The internet never forgets.
I'm not able to get it. She's so fierce. As in, I don't know the people you see online, but guess what? You need some detoxification because it's affecting you. Many people don't know that the people they see on the internet saying and doing rubbish are traumatized people. You know, sometimes you see someone doing some things online, you'll be wondering, why is he doing that? Sometimes you don't understand. Someone is deprived of love, is trying to get attention online because he's deprived of love. is looking for attention online because that's where validation comes. And what does he do? He will do anything to get it, including going naked. And you're surprised? Ask yourself, what are my emotional associations? Please know that if there is a positive direct association, then there is a indirect negative implication. Another example is hard work. Hard work. Work hard. Hard work is associated. You associate hard work with being noble, being a good person, being deserving. The indirect implication is that when you are not hardworking, then you are opposite of being noble, a good person, or deserving. This, therefore, is a perpetual cycle of working hard and struggling. And when you are not doing this, you cannot get anything done. But unfortunately, action does not have to be so hard to be successful. In fact, have you ever wondered why some people work so hard and get so little? You know, when the Bible says the race is not for the swift, the battle is not for the strong. Time and chance happen to them all. You know what determines time and chance? Your frequency. What determines the time? What you call synchronicity. And chance is frequency. Time and chance happen to them all. What determines time and chance is frequency. Time and chance happen to them all. The race is not for the swift. The battle is not for the strong. But time and chance happen to them all. But time and chance happen to them all. So important. You know, there's a challenge in our world, a big challenge, I must say, of not understanding. Sometimes what is going on subconsciously. Because when you don't understand what is going on subconsciously, what it does to you is it makes you to put in so much work, energy, effort, and get little result. Because the race is not for the swift. The battle is not for the strong. Time and chance happen to them all. And the time and chance is determined by your frequency. Time and chance is determined by your frequency. And many people are not conscious of this. I returned and I saw under the sun that the race is not for the swift, and the battle for the strong. But time and chance have them all. This verse points you to the fact that output is not guaranteed by physical input alone. You can exert massive amount of force and energy, but if the frequency is dissonant, the result will not manifest. The race is not for the swift. High velocity, physical speed does not guarantee arrival. You cannot outrun your frequency. If you are misaligned, You cannot outrun your frequency. If your internal frequency is set to lack and struggle, running faster only creates more turbulence, not progress. Time and chance traditionally view as luck, but spiritually this refers to synchronicity and resonance. Time, the kairos moment, a specific window where frequency align, and chance. This is not randomness. It is the collision point where your vibration matches a potential reality. Time and chance happen to them all. Time and chance happen to them all. Time and chance happen to them all. This is so important, ladies and gentlemen. So important. So important. It's better to work smart. That means what you are doing is based on the intuition you are receiving by virtue of the frequency you are at. Please know that work is required for manifestation of your desired reality, but that does not have to be hard work. Struggle is different from effort. Struggle is hard work laced with negative mental state of consciousness. Listen to that, listen to that, listen to that. Struggle is hard work laced with negative mental state of consciousness. Hard work laced with negative mental state of consciousness. So you need to identify your emotional association in order to reverse engineer it and stop the impact on your life. Due to emotional association from frequent rejection of your application for job, your mind has now equated job to rejection. So despite all the prayer, fasting, scripting, affirmation, visualization, meditation, you are still unable to get the job because of the song of rejection playing at the background of your life from the emotional experience or association of the past. If the emotional experience we go through lead to our definition or and this then distort the frequency of our desired reality. If the emotional experience we go through lead to our subconscious definition and this distort the frequency of our desired reality, the question then is, how do we change this? The beauty of the mind is that it cannot distinguish between emotional experience that is real and the one you imagine. And the one you imagine. And the one you imagine. That's why I said you need to read the previous book of your life. If you notice, and one of the good signs of this, when you are making effort, and please take note of this, you are making effort in a particular thing, and with all the effort you are putting in, it looks like you are not making any progress. That's a clear indication that you need to check. These things I'm trying to manage. This thing I'm trying to manifest. This thing I'm trying to manifest. What has been the experiences I've had in the previously in my life? For example, what has been, let's say it's money. You're making a lot of effort and you are finding it difficult to make both ends meet. Ask very important question. What has been your emotional experience with money? Is it relationship? Every relationship you get into, it doesn't last. Something will just happen. What has been your emotional experience with relationship you've seen or you have experienced? When you begin to ask, you'll be able to know when you've had negative emotional experience, your job is to reverse engineer. You need to go back to that past, experience that experience again. But this time around, rather than feel terrible by that experience, you need to give it the right definition. For example, let's say growing up, it was so terrible that they sent you out of school because there was no money. It sent you out of school, there was no money. So you have associated money with struggle, pain. And that picture is always on your mind. And it happened a couple of times. And you can understand, maybe you even miss test or exam because of it. You need to go back to that day, go back to that experience, and give it a different interpretation. You know, I was talking to a lady recently. She's in her 30s, supposed to be married, but she's not. But this lady, while growing up, she lived with her, she has a very traumatic experience with her sister's husband who wanted to rape her. Incidentally, when that thing happened, I got to know about it. She told me. So I told her what to do. But now, I now realize that it looked like that thing is still affecting her. What I mean is, she sees men in a particular way because of that experience. And I told her, look, if you don't go back into that experience and give that incident a different interpretation, for example, instead of seeing that man as being terrible, wicked, unfaithful to the wife, you begin to see a man that needs help, a man that is weak, a man not seeing the bad men generally, but seeing this man as being weak, lacks self-control, need help, so that you can pity him rather than hate men because of him. So, and this needs to be done in a way that this is what therapists do for people. They take you back on a journey back to your past. Sometimes you need to bring that memory back and give it a different label. Because you know what? Whenever you label something, it comes with an emotion. And if it's an intense negative emotional experience, this is the result. This is the result. This is the result. So if you have such and you want us to talk about it, we can fix time to do it. I can work with you on it. If you have a specific area, we can fix time maybe during the week in the night to go through it together. But guess what? You need to do it. You need to do it. If you don't fix that traumatic experience, if you don't fix it, it can affect that particular area of your life. It can be an issue of money, it can be issue of relationship, it can be issue of job, it can be issue of marriage, it can be different area of your life. Different area of your life. The beauty of the mind is that it can't distinguish between emotional experience and the one you imagine. Therefore, if you can create the emotional experience that is opposite of that current program, then you can shift or displace or override the current one. This can be done through getting into a state of theta brainwave through breath work, and then use your imagination to create an opposite experience in the direction of the desired reality. So, for example, what is the core memory that you have about money? Because that is what determines your core frequency, will determine your reality. If your emotional association with money is problem from what you observe growing up, then you have to get into a meditative state and begin to see money as liberty, freedom, being a blessing, and not worrying about it. Ensure that a new emotion arises from this practice, And that is what will be able to displace and override the core memory that you currently have about money. So the idea is that same experience, giving it a different meaning with an emotional experience, because you have a memory about money that have a negative emotional experience, you want to change it to positive. So you can displace the impact of the current memory. So it can become a recessive memory, and you have a more predominant memory that control the reality you experience in your life. Because memory it doesn't get lost. It's always there unless the person have Alzheimer's. Ensure that a new emotion arises from this practice, and that is what will be able to displace and rewrite the memory of what you currently have about money. So you can extrapolate this to other areas of your life to change the narrative in those areas, from relationship to career to business to money. You can recreate the emotional experience, and this helps to recreate the song that is playing at the background of your life. That is why the most important book to read in your life in order to manifest your desired reality is the previous chapter of your life. A critical review of the previous chapter of your life will help you to know the source of your belief, and this consequently help you to decipher the reason why you are reacting the way you are reacting. For example, when you hear about money, maybe the price of something is going to just shout, God. Is the program. Is the program. Is the program. Is the program. Let me stop here tonight. What have you learned tonight? The most important book you need to read is the previous chapter of your life. You want to manifest your desired reality? It's important for you to read the previous chapter of your life. What have you learned tonight? Korede Akim, you are number one on my list. Korede, good evening. Good evening. Okay, Korede is not with us. Chidi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Korede,
Can
go
you hear me
ahead.
clearly?
Chidi, hold on, please.
Okay.
Korede, go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Good evening.
I'm very, very grateful for the insightful message tonight.
All right.
To solve the issues of mind, and that is basically I'm holding on to something tonight, to let go of the negative mind, issues of mind, and I'm trusting God that permanently now deliverance has come. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Chidi.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me, please? Confirm.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm on an external mic, so I wanted to be sure. That thank you so much. I missed like the earlier part of the session because schedule issues, but I think I got the most critical juice for me. um, Especially when you painted particular scenarios about the past experiences with money and the school, your school fees thing is the and I was just remembering how for me it was the reverse because I can remember the times that I actually paid school fees without being sent out. That is every other term I was always sent out. So they're like one or two terms that were exceptional in my entire primary secondary school experience. So and I'm asking myself, at what point did the switch happen? Right? Because I believe the switch happened at some point. And I mean it just I think the first thing that came to my mind was as a Christian, right, the transformative power of the word of God being able to renew your mind and then help just align some of these things without you being even conscious or really understanding what was really going on. And then now really digging deep to now say, okay, what are some of the practical steps I took to ensure that the way I see money is actually now different? right? So this really, I can I can see this how this played out in my own life, right? Practically, going from the desperate mindset. Remember this time my dad would be like, "Do you guys think money goes on tree?" And then having to go choose school. I think I bought my first science textbook when I was in the secondary. That's why because I wouldn't ask my parents money for textbook because you know. So all of those scarcity mindset thingy shaped a lot of my self-esteem, shaped a couple of things for me, and it was constant exposure to these things that you teach, right? Because I've been a part of all of these teachings, from quite an early age, right? So, and I'm looking at 5 years down the line, how much of my life is different, right? So yes, the past chapters of your life, they really hold a lot of depth. And I recently I was writing about a couple things about how sexual exposure, relationship issues. And I could also trace some of these things to my roots, right? So absolutely, I can see how all the dots connect. And my only question right now would now be for patterns, right? When you're conscious about it, you can work on it. But once you can't tell, what are some of the ways some of the measures, right, you can put in place to actually, because even if you do except you begin to write like your biography from like when you were 3 years old till date, but is there a way we can
So the first
actually,
thing is, do you notice a repetition of a pattern in a particular area of your life? That's the first place to start. Immediately you notice that, then it now begin to go back to now do a review of the previous chapters to be able to know, at least from the time you are conscious of yourself, what had been experienced in that particular area. Someone is in a relationship, you just find that the relationship does not last. Something will just happen. Either he talk anyhow, or the guy, something will just happen. But he's not aware of the fact that he doesn't trust guys. Why? Because of the experience he has had in the past. And because he doesn't trust, it affect what he's saying or what she's saying, getting the other party offended. Some people will be saying things that offend you and they don't say anything wrong with it. And they don't even know what you're saying. That's why sometimes when some people say some things, they wonder, why would they talk like that? You don't understand. It's just like this lady I'm talking about on TikTok, for example. They don't even know. You need to be self-aware. You need to have a session like this where you are now conscious that, okay, I've left school. I have attended 20 interviews of 10 interviews, and it has ended in a similar way. What is going on? You need to ask questions. Don't attribute to people in the village. What are you doing? You need to, what is your mindset? How do you even see Nigeria economy? What are the things you've said about Nigeria economy in the past that have positioned you in a way that you don't believe it's possible to get a job in Nigeria? Maybe as a lady, you believe you must use your body. If you don't give your body, you'll not get a job. You must sell. You have, and it's because of what has happened in the past, such that now you don't believe that it's possible. It's just like some people don't believe people can make genuine money in Nigeria. And some people see someone driving a new car, just believe he has stolen money. It's so funny. Why? Because they can't even fathom the fact that this is possible. And immediately you have believed that like that, you can attract it to yourself. So immediately you notice a particular pattern that, okay, this keeps happening. Then I need to ask important questions. Let me give you an example. Something happened to us also some time ago. I realized that when I began to study this, contribute to when I began to study this, I realized that some jobs we are supposed to get, for one reason or the other, we're not getting it. And they are giving it to people that we believe we can do a lot better than. And I'm asking myself, in fact, I signed up for a mentoring program with a mentor on the island. I visited, they spent a lot of money on that program, visited him a couple of times just to ask questions. Because I was trying to ask. It's later I now realized that, I was just in the wrong frequency, man. What I say is that But if you are conscious as a human being, you should be able to notice those patterns that it look like something is just not adding up. And if you are conscious, then you want to begin to find answers. And I'm saying tonight, most likely you are in the wrong state of consciousness that you need to adjust. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sorry, just a follow-up, right? Piggybacking from what you said in December period about these all newer pathways that are formed, right? That are solidified over time as a result of all of this experience that are now informing some of the actions that are now keeping you in this frequency, right? So in now taking cost corrective measures, right? I mean, these are already things that are not habits, right? So in the interim, while you are still trying to solidify these newer pathways, I know you probably still touch on this, maybe in subsequent session, but I just want you to just speak a little bit to it because just because personally I'm having experiences where I'm looking at, for instance, how I manage my finances, right? I have intentional structures and systems right in place, but for some reasons it's still very tough to be able to have a budget, stick to a budget. And I can, like you said, I can
To have
attribute
a
it to
budget
all of
and stick to a
previous
budget.
chapters. Yes, to have a budget and stick to a budget. But yeah, I can attribute it to
Hold on,
previous
this
chapters of my
budget
life,
now, is it
right?
budget for personal use, as in personal
So,
expense?
so yeah, so there's budget for personal expense, there's budget for benevolence, there's budget for different things. But for some reasons, the budget for benevolence, I always exceed it.
Okay.
The budget for personal expenses flow into budget for benevolence. So for some reason, there's this part of me that just feels that everything around me must flow out of me, right? And I feel like it's not enough wisdom. It's not wise, right?
So that
As
one
much
is
as
easy
it's
to
it's
fix.
good
So
to
it's
be.
easy to fix. Immediately the money coming, get the percentage out of your control. You can fix that. That one is not, you can fix that easily. Immediately the money coming, get the percent. I can have money in an account and I will look at it and I will have a need and I won't touch it. I've disciplined myself that way, but not everybody discipline themselves that way. So if you know you can't be disciplined that way, just fix. So that means put it in an investment. Immediately it coming, move it to a place you know you won't have access to it easily. So you don't end up spending it because it's not available. So you have to work with what you have left. Because if you have enough, there's no way, there's just a way of something will come and spend that money. It's just the way life is. Something will just come and spend that money. You understand? So
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about that. It's now your job to ensure that you create a system to prevent it. That one you can prevent. And the reason, and it's a program. See what you said? It must flow out of me, which is a good mindset, but it's affecting you. And it's only that is where they can donate blood. You are donating blood you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So you need
Yes,
to
sir.
move that money out to a place you don't have access to it first. So that what is left now is personal and benevolent. If you like, finish it. You know that it's next month now. You won't be able to have access to any other thing. So you probably become more disciplined by doing that. Oh, all right. I'm not hearing. I think my network is having issue. I think my network is having issue. I'm sure you can hear me on what's the name?
Recordings.
Yeah, Jiwin, go ahead. Is Jiwin there? Okay, Jiwin is not there. Mercy? Hello, Mercy, are you there? Look like Mercy is not here with us. Favor. Hello, Favor, are you there? Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you
good
very
evening.
Thank you very much, sir, for the session.
Yep.
I think one of the key things I took away from today's session is when you're speaking about how social media impacts us, kind of,
Yes.
and we don't know unconsciously because these days, once you go on social media, there are just too many things. Both in our spiritual standing, so you're going to be able to see different messages around spiritual standing, different messages around things you're going through, parenting, there's just so many, there's so many things. And so we what I hear tonight, unconsciously, some things can sit in our subconscious, and
Yes.
you tell that because you listened to something, that's why you built that impression or that
Yeah.
thing in your heart around it. So one of the things I'm taking away is to be more careful and more conscious as I listen, or as I scroll through social media at any point in time around just anything generally, because I was just going to the fact that there's sometimes I'll see some parenting tips and I'll like forward to my child, and then but I listen to them before I share them. But again, listening to some things, as in listening more consciously now, is what I'm going to be doing, because there are some things that I might probably process as an adult, and then the child is processing differently. Like
Yeah.
the child is not sieving out what is supposed to sieve out from
Yes.
the information that is being shared. So I think that's one of the key things I have taken away from tonight's session. And then when you talked about looking back,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really very deep, because sometimes when we have certain experiences, we don't really want to open those books. You want to
And it's haunting you.
live in denial that those books didn't exist, or just wave the book away. But experiences that one is going through might actually be speaking to those things. So I'm consciously, like while you were speaking, I was consciously trying to look at the areas of my life and like say, okay, are you sure they're not like trying to evaluate my life generally? So I know that after this session, I'm going to have to look back at my life and look back at certain things to see if I'm not unconsciously putting myself in certain positions that I should not based on it. But again, I don't know. Sometimes it's a little tough. So this is not a question, but this is a, I don't know how to put it. Maybe this is a comment.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a little it's a little tough when I think of everything, when I think about everything generally. The fact that some things have been dropped, like you mentioned, unconsciously.
Mm.
So you gave an example of the beating. Ah,
Yes.
in fact, while you were saying it, I remember a day I so beat my child. She annoyed me. I so beat my child, and that day, I think I sat down and then started reflecting and like, did I really need to do this?
Yeah.
Could I have handled it differently? Was it this? It wasn't this bad. Like I shouldn't have, because when I heard my bitter and I saw her mouth was swollen, I'm like, hey God. So I would have taken myself to the hospital again to start explaining why I could not just probably control myself and think of a better way to be able to pass the correction across. So sometimes, and then when I was thinking about it while you were speaking, what was coming to mind was when I was small, my mother would generally just have several canes, as in she buys canes, like we dash our teachers the cane. And my mother would take the cane to school and tell the teacher, oh, each of us when we're going to school, share the cane and say, give it to your teacher. That mommy says she gave, because we're tired of her having so much cane. So she was beating more, she was very strict, she was like you could not make any, if you make any mistake, you know that the punishment is already there. And it was, when we all grew up, we all felt, man, even if you were, it's like killing a mosquito and you're using a gun to shoot that mosquito like straight down. My mother was that strict, right? And she could go as far as even tear gas. So my mother was a police
Ah,
officer. I'm
are you
telling you,
serious?
on small children, she was strict. She was very strict. And somehow, with all of that, when I grew older, I could just tell that she was trying to train us up the best she could,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
understood when we were young, I was just two. So and I think for her, maybe the trauma, the experience just made her say, see, I'm just going to make sure that these kids turn out well. So anything I need to do, I'm going to do it. And that was the excuse I could create when I was much older. And I could see the love in it, in all of it. But sometimes some of these things actually impacts us unconsciously as to probably even relating. So growing up, I would just see the things people would make, the errors that people would make. I'm like, no, you can't just do that. That's not, some things are impossible. It's looking like it's impossible. I'll give an example. My mother, you hold the handle of a door and you slam the door. So if you go out and you shut the door and the door makes a sound, my mother is calling you back and she's like, you hold the handle of the door, you hold it down, you close it. Unconsciously, even as an adult now, there are things that I will do that unconsciously you just be like, I'm hearing my mother's voice saying, hey, you slammed the door. So, so I can't tell. I don't know. Listening to you now, I'm just thinking, I just said to myself, I actually need to go back and do a real check as to what the previous page was, as to
Yeah.
ensure that I'm sure that I'm aligned right now and those things are not playing out in the actions that I take. I can't imagine. I know my child is very bigger now, but I can't imagine maybe what I've done years back when she was smaller. I'm sure that some part of that strictness may have come out in the upbringing, but all the same, I just thank God I'm hearing these things and it's beginning to do certain things and I'm beginning to make certain changes that I need to. Thank you very much, sir, for the
Thank
session.
you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sandra, good evening. Are you there? Okay, Sandra is not there. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next week. Have a great, great, great weekend. I mean, week ahead, rather. And bye-bye.